If you try forcing something, it's probably not going to happen.
Proverbs and Psalms have a lot of a wealth of wisdom in them, but Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." I mean, that's pretty straightforward, you know.
To know that we are fallen beings and we can't do it all ourselves, and when we try to, we go astray quite often to where we just need to surrender ourselves, give it to God, and let Him lead us where we need to go.
And that's a big struggle for a lot of people. Just the surrender aspect, just letting go.
People like to be in control.
Let go and let God. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I feel pride is a huge thing for so many people. I speak from experience. That's probably one of the number one things that I get hung up on. It's like, well, this is what I think, or this is what needs to happen because that's what I read, or whatever. You know, like it's.
See, I get so much anxiety about it, just trying to rely on my own provisions to help my family through, and it just like I need something a little bit more. You know, like you have instances where you barely get by or you struggle to make anything happen, and it's just like, what am I doing wrong? But that's the problem, is you're doing. You know, but that's also, so we can't get it confused with just doing nothing at all. You know, like you can't, it doesn't mean sit on your hands. It doesn't mean just like, well, I'm just going to sit here in the water and let, you know, God just do whatever, like everything's going to fall apart.
Yeah,
like
take action.
You need to.
We were created for purpose.
Let God work through you, essentially.
Yes. Right. We're instruments of His. I heard something interesting. What's his name? Can't think of it right now, but he was a coach, and he had a really great way of talking about humans. You know, like we're God's trophies, or we can be. Like, we're made to be His trophy if we honor the call that He has placed inside of us and live up to that image of Him that He's placed inside of us. Because we each have talents and abilities that are from God that mirror aspects of His power, and it's when we're leaning into that as much as we can, we definitely are trophies of God. There's something you were saying earlier which ties into this, to, you know, when you're leaning on your own understanding too much, something that continues to resonate with me. It's something David said from 1 Solomon, that, you know, this battle is the Lord's. Like that, every time I feel like that, like I'm having all this anxiety or fear, like, well, I don't have it figured out, I don't know what to do. Well, I don't have to know. I just have to have faith that God will provide. And
if you try forcing something, it's probably not going to happen. You know, you're going to do it, just do it, and if it happens, it happens. And then you do what you can to try to make it happen, but don't force it. You know, let God be in control of the situation, and if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. You have to accept God's path for you. You know, it's hard. Pride, again, gets in the way. Because I want this to happen. Well, we got some more here from Proverbs. Let's see. We've got Proverbs 4:7. The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Though it cost all you have, get understanding.
Yes, because in the pursuit of wisdom, we could lose some things along the way that might, like, whether it be an idea that you had, a preconceived notion, or a presupposition that you had when you're going along a certain way. If you gain the wisdom, then you'll know you have to discard it. And I think that's where some people get tripped up, is that they fight with that a lot. They're like, no, well, this can't be. I'm just going to ignore that and continue on where I'm going, and then things are failing and falling apart, and they don't know why. But then when you accept that wisdom that comes in and you change, then you can maybe in that process gain the understanding of as to why things were going the way that they were going.
Yeah. That though it costs all you have, I think that what that says to me is pride, for sure. It's like you have to just get yourself out of the way, because wisdom is eternal. It's timeless. It doesn't have to be a specific instance. It's like if you stick your hand in the mouth of a bear, that's probably not a very wise thing to do. No matter what, that's you're playing with fire right there. So I don't know. Anybody else want to read some of these?
Oh, maybe I can take a gander.
Take a crack.
Take a gander.
My eyes hurt.
Oh, okay. So again, on the wisdom in Psalms 111, verse 10, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All who follow his precepts have good understanding. To him belongs eternal praise. So, yeah, fear of the Lord, I guess in a sense, meaning that we're not supposed to be like actually afraid of the Lord, but to take him in reverence, to know that like, oh, he's here.
Right.
He's doing stuff. Like, we have to respect that fact.
Yes.
This is his world, not ours.
Yes, we're stewards. We're called to look after and take care of what he's created. And that's why he created man, right? To look after creation. And there's a lot of ways we can do that.
The wise man knows where his true happiness is. It isn't chasing happiness that he can't get.
Yeah, anytime you're chasing, it's like you're trying to force it. You
yes,
know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And another thing, there's another one that ties into that one too, being on the topic of like respecting the Lord and recognizing that he is the one moving, that he is telling his story, is Colossians 3:23-24. Whatever you do, work at it with your heart, or with all of your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. Meaning that no matter what we're doing, we're supposed to do it for the glory of God.
Build the kingdom.
Bring the kingdom to earth.
Yep.
Well, that's what we're supposed to. So like, I can go into my job that I'm doing with the mindset of, you know, like, oh, I hate my supervisors, or I hate this job, it's tearing me down and all that, but then my work suffers because I'm going at it with that regard, because I'm not doing it for the Lord, because I'm doing it for my own benefit, or just, you know, what I perceive to be the benefit of my overlords at work, the people paying me to do it. You know, they're just exploiting me, they're just doing whatever. But no, it's like, if I want to, and that's how business operates. Like, I have to produce a good thing in order for me to get the good thing from it. Right. I have to make a product worth selling that my bosses will sell in order for me to get paid. Otherwise, we don't get money and I don't get paid.
Yeah. Right.
You know, starts from the bottom up, but the money comes top down.
Yeah. And anything you do in life, you need to make sure you always put your best foot forward as well.
Yes.
Any work you do it to the best of your ability, because you're just cheating your own self and you're wasting your own time.
Yeah, exactly.
Something I'm always talking to my oldest son about is do it 100%. Like, don't stop until you've actually completed what you're set out to do. Be like, well, I did 95%. It's pretty much done. No, it's not done. You gotta finish. There's still a sock on the floor. Pick that sock up. Put it where it belongs. Like, it's just one sock, but it's not complete.
I do struggle with that a lot, actually, because I'll go at a task and I'll be good enough. Yeah. You know, and I you know, Kayla's the alternate, like the exact opposite. She was like, no, it's not, it's never good enough. Like, no matter how good of a job you're doing, you could always be better. You know, so it's like,
you are fired.
Yeah, so it's that finding that happy medium, that sweet spot in that of like like what you said, doing it 100%. Kayla wants 150, I want 50.
Well, perfection
let's meet at 100.
is,
you know, let's do what it needs to be.
I think perfection is can be a good thing to shoot for, but getting caught up and never being satisfied is another thing. Yeah. A very tricky place to be.
That's the opposite extreme of that example.
Yeah.
So anytime someone tells you to do something, no one likes to be told what to do, right? And sometimes when someone's telling you to do something, you just don't want to do it, so you're not going to give the right kind of motivation.
Sure.
So a little psychology thing I do at my job is, you know, we own a golf cart business, and we run a full service shop. So I have my whole entire day kind of planned out on my dry erase board, and I label all the jobs we have to do that day from easiest to hardest and color coordinated. So I tell my techs, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but here's all the jobs that we have to get done today. You pick what you want to do. And you know, I got two young techs, so they do the green tab and the blue tabs, and I have my more experienced techs. He has the red and the yellow. I never tell them what to do. I just have expectations, and they know them.
Yeah.
So that way they have more
freedom.
Yeah, freedom. They get to pick what they get to do that day. So in return, they're going to work harder because they get to pick the job they want.
They are not just being demanded, do it this way at this time. This is what needs to get done. Approach it how you want to do it. As long as it gets done, we're good.
Have any questions, ask.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. Is that something a system came up with, or mirroring that off of something else?
Yeah. So I have a board that has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I might have like I got 4 sticky notes on it. So if I want to pull the sticky note off, I like some oddball jobs I need them to get done before the end of the day between their other jobs.
Gotcha.
So each job is labeled from hardest to easy to hard, and then they just know they go down the list. My new techs go down the list. My main tech, he goes kind of up the list.
Okay. So, I see.
So
interesting. Meet in the middle.
Meet in the middle, and then I'll fill in the gaps here and there. And if I see him struggling, I'll hop in. I'll show him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
How long you guys been running the golf cart business?
We just had our 5-year anniversary.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's me, my father-in-law, my wife, and then my mother-in-law is there every once in a while, and then we have 3 techs. Chris, he's one of my main techs. He's really, really good. And then I got Dawson and Eldon. Dawson has a lot of mechanical experience. He's only 16 years old, but that dude, I can pretty much give him almost any job, and he really tackles it.
That's
Eldon
cool.
doesn't have really much mechanical experience, but he's very willing to learn.
Yes.
So that helps.
That's cool. Sounds like you got a good team.
Yeah. We're beyond blessed, honestly. It's been a crazy ride, how I ended up in Ohio, how we ended up with the business, and just the timing of everything. You just can't make it up. He saw it all happen from the get-go.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I was there from the time that you met your wife all the way up until you got married, and
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's been a journey.
It's amazing how life is always going to be that, there's always going to be being able to look back and just see everything you've come through is it's amazing. I feel like everybody has a book that they could write,
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is God's telling a story. He's telling a story through your life. What
he's
what
creating
story,
stories. That's what he's doing.
What story is he telling through you? What is your story that God is telling through your life?
I get to kind of brag to people and say, I get to work with my wife every day, and I love it. Not everyone can spend every single living second with their wife and be okay with it.
Right.
Ramsey and I'm telling you, man, we knock some stuff out.
That's good.
She's on the sales room floor. I'm in the shop, bouncing in and out between the sales room and the shop. And when it started, it was just her dad and I. We would work at Bobcat before we owned the business that we bought, and I would go to work with them at 9, and then at 5 o'clock we'd get off, and then after 5 we'd work till 10 or 11 o'clock at night. We did that for a whole year, and then when we were doing from like 5 to 11, we were building golf carts for this dealership.
Oh, cool.
And then the guy wanted to move to Florida, and he's like, hey, you should buy this business. So then Craig brought Ramsey and I, and he sat down with us, and he says, hey, are you going to be staying in Ohio? What's your game plan? And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm going anywhere. He's like, okay, well, I think I'm going to buy a business. I'm like, oh, golly, this got serious real fast.
Sounds like a lot of commitment.
Yeah, it was, but commitment isn't a bad thing.
No.
Yeah.
So...
And especially, it brings about a certain set of experiences that you wouldn't necessarily have if you were content to just jump around a lot.
Right.
There are some, everyone's like, oh, I want that breadth of experience before I settle down and do one thing. But at the same time, there are certain experiences that you just cannot have unless you've worked at the same place for 10 years, or you've been in the same town for 20, or you've been married for 30.
Yeah.
So...
Well, there's so many different ways of approaching problems and living life. It's no matter how it's falling for you, there's so much to be learned. There's so much that can happen in a positive way. You just have to be willing to see it, open your eyes, and there's always opportunity.
I wouldn't have the work ethic I do without my wife's dad. So he's a worker, man. He's always doing something, and even after owning the business, now he kind of can kick back a little bit. He's still always doing stuff, and I applaud him for that. Instead of just taking the high road, the easy way out after getting into the position we need to get. No, this dude's constantly, every single weekend, he's wrenching on a golf cart. Even though he don't have to, he does, and I applaud him for that.
Is he? Would you say he's a philosopher?
What do you mean?
Does he have? Does he share sounds like you've learned a lot from him. Is it more seeing his work ethic, or does he share like verbal wisdom with you as well?
His willingness to say no and focus on what he needs to focus on is unmatched. He puts himself first every time, and he's paid off because he's focused on himself. He's focused on his family.
Yeah.
So it's very impressive. He's the most patient guy I know. Very, very patient. He could have a great deal pop up in front of him, and it doesn't faze him. Like, his dream car could be right there, and he has the money to buy it, but he's like, nope, I'm gonna wait. It's hard because, you know, I have such a passion for cars and stuff, and no, if I had the money, I'd probably buy my dream car if I had the money, but I don't. And he's taught me a lot that it's okay to not have what you want, and you just have to be patient. I'll be honest.
Yeah, patience is a
virtue.
It is a virtue. No, it takes
it takes a lot of patience to run a lot of things in your life.
To deal with me, you got to have a lot of patience. That's the God's honest truth there.
I relate to that.
ADHD is strong with this one.
Yeah. Oh, I love wrenching. I'll wrench all day if you let me. But housework, no, I can't do housework. I tried.
I've tried.
Yeah, no. Like seriously, I put like 3 coats of mud on the wall in 1 coat. So like I'm not good at drywall, and I didn't really have much experience, but I wanted to try. I'm like I'm gonna try to figure this out. Yeah. And I drywalled and mudded this whole room, and then I was kind of proud of it at first. I knew I was gonna have to sand, but then he came down and he goes, "Oh shoot, I'm gonna have to help you redo all this, ain't I?" And I said, "Oh man." Then Ramsey walks in the room. She's like, "Well, that one line looks okay, babe." Thanks, Rams.
Nice.
Thanks.
Hey,
yeah, there was a lot of sanding. I did 1 coat, and it took me about 2 hours. He did 4 coats, and it took him about 4 weeks.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
But he's patient.
Yep.
You know, he barely even had to sand anything back off. You know, he just put thin coat after thin coat after thin coat, and he just barely touched it.
Is that stem from like just wanting to go from one thing to another, like boom, boom, boom? Like it doesn't. When you have patience, then you can just kind of slow down and take it one job at a time. But for you, it's 10 jobs at a time, and you got to do them all like within a certain time.
Yeah. It's from my mechanical experience. It doesn't clash with house stuff because my mechanical stuff I can work really fast. I can get a job knocked out. I've got
a lot of experience.
Yes, a lot of experience. And the house stuff I've had little experience, but I'm always working at a very fast pace. Which with houses you can't do that. You can if you have the experience, but when you're unexperienced and you're trying to work at that fast pace, it just doesn't work out.
Right.
It's an art.
That makes sense. I fall into that trap too. You know, I would love to. I want to be as efficient as possible with my time, and sometimes that means I end up taking a lot longer because I'm like, I'm just gonna get this done. I've seen people do it like this, so I can do that real fast, right? Oh, wait a minute, I just gouged the wall. Okay.
Oh, that outlet box is cut a little bit too high. Now I have to repatch that hole and move it. You know,
kind of reminded me of that video that you showed me earlier. It was a Malcolm in the Middle where the guy was like, his wife wanted him to change the light bulb. That was it. But it was literally, he went to change the light bulb, and then he found another thing. Like they were out of light bulbs, so he's got to go to the store. Well, I don't know, the way that.
So it was like.
One small favor.
He went to go change the light bulb, so then he went to the closet. He grabbed the light bulb out of the closet. As he grabbed the light bulb, the shelf fell down. So he had to fix the shelf. Well, in order to fix the shelf, he had to go to the garage. Well, then he was out of like tape or something like that. So then he had to go run to the store. Well, then his car broke down, so he couldn't run to the store. So then his wife comes home and she's like, "How are you trying to fix that light bulb?" And he's under the car wrenching. He's like, "What do you think I'm doing?"
But that's I feel that so hard. It's just
everything is connected, and you learn that real quick when you're running when you're part of running a household. Like there's always something to be done, and we've got that right now at our place. I've got a hole in the ceiling I have to fix because a pipe was leaking. Had to open it up to see what was going on, and it's just there's a big list of things that we need to accomplish. But, you know, It's like eating that elephant, one bite at a time.
Yeah. That's how I feel about building this house, man. It's just, it seems like it's just one thing after another, and then there's just things getting in the way that seems like for example, one of our biggest issues right now that we're like kind of like, all right, maybe we should just step back and take a look at like everything that we need to do first before we can handle this. And that's why it felt so hard, because like we want to start making walls on the inside and put up a second floor, because right now it's just the shell. And so we were like, okay, well, let's put up these ledger boards. Well, before we can do that, we have to put up the insulation and suture strips. So, all right, but before we do that, we have to run the wires behind the ribs so that we can put our outlets on those walls. And we have to do that first before we can put up and then we're like, well, now we have to look at our floor plans, because our floor plans are just about walls. They're not about electrical, like where those things are. So now we have to redo all of our floor plans. So it's just like literally like how, that's why it got me so hard, that because it's just like it keeps pushing you back one thing at a time.
Right.
I got this tattoo that says here, if you have everything under control, you're not moving fast enough. So it's funny because the guy messed up the tattoo and he connected not and moving. So it's kind of ironic. If you have everything under control, you're not moving fast enough and it's connected.
Right.
I'm like, it works. I'm sitting there like, you got to get this thing done faster. This hurts. And I'm like, oh, I'm being a big old baby about it.
That's good. So that really seems like that plays a big role in your life, getting things done quickly.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, it's been speed.
Did I say suture strips? I think I meant fairing strips to anybody. They're gonna call me out.
Ooh, got him.
Knew you were unqualified.
Suture strips, those are like band-aids.
Right.
Or like stuff to stitch wounds together, like to hold them closed.
Yeah, those little strips. Craziness. Wild stuff. Well, did you have any more words of wisdom from the good book?
Words of wisdom? No. I think I ran into all I wanted to talk to on that regard, because all of those, they just kind of like hit one after the other, and they were just kind of like all related.
Right. Very similar.
It's one of the cool things about the Bible. It's you can read it essentially forever, because everything connects with everything else in a way that you don't really see in other places.
Right.
That's why it's like such a good cohesive story.
Depending on where you're at in your life and what's going on around you, you're going to get something different out of it each time. I think that's a lot of the reason why there is so many different ways of saying the same thing in the Bible. And that's also because it stands the test of time. It doesn't change. God's word is what it is. It doesn't need to be modified or twisted to fit situations. We need to modify ourselves to fit the word. And it's...
I like the way you put that.
Yeah, thank you. It's amazing, that's always been another thing that I've struggled with, is I want to bend reality to suit what I think needs to happen. But the more you open yourself up and allow things to be what they are and see how you can fit into it rather than forcing it to be what you expect.
Don't conform God to your life.
Definitely.
You conform to God's life.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. On that note, that's all the wisdom you're ever going to need. See you later.